So, let us start. So, in the last class I raised few questions, that how to improve student engagement, how to equip students with skill, how to teach a large classroom, how to equip students with self learning ability, how to allow the continuous improvement of the curricula. I said that all the questions which I raised in lecture number 2 will be answered during this my whole lecture series. Okay. So, now before I explain, I came to the one after solution. Let us first think another dimension which I explained in the accreditation, which is nowadays everybody knows that NBA accreditation, Washington accreditation. So, before start going to that questions that 21st century education need, let us discuss something about the accreditation. Okay. Somebody said, yes, my program is accredited. Is that mean that my program is best? So, accreditation, is it mean that it is it improve the quality? Actually, accreditation does not mean meaning that it is improve the quality. Accreditation is nothing but it guaranteed some quality. Okay. You may thought, why accreditation is required? What is accreditation? The question is obvious. Why we do accreditation? What is that? Why it is required? All kinds of questions you may come. So, I give a simple example. If I buy a system, let us washing machine. If I want to buy a washing machine, what we need, when you go to the shop, we see some specification, how much kilo is load, whether it is automatic or semi-automatic, how much water is required for different menu function, all kinds of specification is there, and all specification we studied and we buy washing machine. So, if I want to measure the quality of the machine, I required certain features by which I can say, yes, this washing machine is meet my quality. Now, think about same things in education. Can I measure that quality of education? Or on the reverse way, not only measure also, can I say that if I have these features, then somebody can assess what is the quality of education is expected from this program. So, here we try to measure the quality of education. Now, think about if I buy a television and that quality is measured with respect to certain features. If any one of the features is not matching with the desired specification given by that company of that television, what we go? We can go to the consumer forum and we can say that you said that your features, this feature should supported by your television set which you sell, but it is not supported. So, actually you are cheating the customer. Think about same things in education system. I want that before I join a program, I said not institute, because institute had different program and accreditation is valid for each program, because we are saying we measuring the quality of education, not quality or overall education of the system, quality of a specific program like television. I am not judging the quality of Sony, I am judging the quality of a television made by Sony. Okay? So, television is a product, similarly program is a product of an institution. So, I can say what are the dimension is required to measure the quality of a program. This is one requirement. I want to measure the quality of a program, then that means I want to say after a student graduated, let us BTech program, B 4-year BTech program of Institute A, program B, 4-year BTech program of civil engineering. Okay. Now, I want to say that after a student becomes a civil engineer from Institute A, program B, what are the dimensions, what are the required skill set will be there on the student C when he pass out. Or I can say what are the desired skill sets supposed to be acquired by the students when he pass from the program B. This is the one of the requirement. Similarly, if you say other requirement, suppose I want to exchange, you said this is the BTech program, this students is BTech civil engineers, okay, let student see. Whether this program is applicable, directly applicable to Institute E or not, I do not know. So, I want if the student C maintains certain basic skill which will be defined in a dimension, and if a student have those skill, then I can say this students is directly applicable to Institute E. So, let us country A produce a BTech engineer, I am certifying he is a BTech engineer. If this certificate is valid, country B, what is required? That I am expecting that a graduate engineer must have certain skill which I already defined by accreditation. If an engineer have those skill, then I can say he is directly applicable in my Institute E or my organization E. So, it is not that certificate only. I can give him 90% pass mark and he will get a certificate in BE civil, but no, it is not. So, I want that we want an education system, they should measure, I want to measure the quality of the system based on how much skill a student has acquired by the program B. Okay. So, I want to define certain dimension or certain skill, those skill must be acquired by the students and which is essential skill. If a student has those skill, then I can say he is graduate students from program B. Okay. So, it is that if you see that a engineer, why a person is called civil engineer, why a person is called BTech this engineer, why I am should have a less English honors, because I should have certain skill which does not acquire by the common man, that is why I am differentiate and I am certified as a BTech engineer. Then only I can say that education is carrying us, not we carry education. I am carrying a certificate BTech electronics engineer, but I do not have any skill regarding electronics, regarding what are the skill required to declare me as a BTech electronics engineer. So, nobody is specified. So, now here I want to specify, if I say somebody is a BTech electronics engineer, then he must have those skill which will be defined by a program which offers that BTech electronics engineering. So, accreditation is a process by which a program is accredited, but it does not say that it improves the quality of the program. It said it guaranteed that it will maintain the minimum quality which is required for a specified program. So, if it is a BTech program, because NBA and Washington Records all are applicable to a 4-year graduate BTech program engineering education. So, if I say that if a program has this dimension, maintained this dimension, then I can say the program is accredited. So, how do we measure whether his program is maintained that dimension, or how do we measure whether a student has those skill or not? That is separate process. So, accreditation only define the dimension only by which I will measure the program. Okay. Now, let us go for the Washington Records accreditation. So, what Washington Records says, why it is required? Again I said that suppose country A produce a 4-year graduate program B, and I want country C should accept this B, then I can say country A, there is a definition that if a program B, if a student said I have passed the program B, that means he must have certain skill which will define by the accreditation, and if he has those skill, then country C can accept he B as a acceptable engineer. So, that means I want to impose quality. Okay. So, what are those dimensions? What is this dimension? What kinds of skill is supposed to be student has? So, if it is a B.Tech electronics, B.Tech civil, so different kinds of skill is there. So, what they said, Washington Records said, let us define a common skill which will required by an engineer, and that common skill should be adopted by a specific program. Okay. So, since it is measured the program, that is why it is called that Washington Records define the program outcome of a program. If a student engaged a program, after completion of the program, he or she should have those skills. Each and every skill is outcome. So, Washington Records define 12 outcome expected from any program. So, Washington Records define the 12 outcome, which is called PO, program outcome, by which I can measure the quality of student produced by a program. Now, once this program outcome is adopted for electronics engineering, then we said it is a program specific outcome. What is the difference? In the program, Washington Records define 12 parameters, 12 dimensions of measuring the outcome. Out of those 12 dimensions, the 5 dimensions, first 5 dimensions will be domain dependent, and another 7 dimensions are domain independent. Let us go across the POs, then I again explain that things. Okay. So, what Washington Records first says that after that 10 plus 2 for a 4-year engineering program, 4-year engineering program. So, they said input is 10 plus 2. If a student spend 4-year time with a program which give a degree on engineering, then he or she must have those skills. What are the skills? First is knowledge of engineering science, apply knowledge of mathematics, natural science, engineering fundamental and engineering specification to the solution of a complex engineering problem. So, an engineer must know mathematics, science and engineering fundamental to make a solution of complex engineering problem. So, there is a 2 dimension. One is that I have to make solution of a complex engineering problem, applying whatever maths, physics, science, or science or engineering fundamental I have studied. Then second is problem analysis. Engineer must able to analyze the problem. If a problem is given to him, he should able to analyze it and he should able to formulate the mathematical model. So, what is that? Third one, design and development of solution. A engineer must design solution for a complex problem or design system or component or a process that meet specified need with appropriate consideration of public health, safety, cultural, societal and environmental consideration. So, engineer first one, he should solve engineering problem. He should able to analyze engineering problem. He should able to design solution of a complex engineering problem or process or system or part of a system. So, those are the requirement for a graduate engineer. So, if it is a BTech civil engineer, so he should solution of a civil engineering problem. He should design solution for a civil engineering problem. Okay? Then I can say those are PSO, program specific outcome. Then next one is investigation. Conduct investigation of complex problem including design of experiment, analysis and interpretation of data, synthesis of information to provide valid conclusion. So, those are theoretical domain. Now, I come to experimentation, investigation. It is not that a student must produce an investigation report only. If you see many of the cases that institute, that we do not say that do not touch the instrument. If you touch the instrument, experiment will be goes wrong and your data will be not correct. So, what students are doing? They come in the experimental system and they just rotating the knob or doing something and calculate some data and they are preparing a report which is following the previous year report and they submit it. So, what it is happening? The report which is produced by a students may be basically created in 1951 and still we are continuing the same report. But what kind of skill we require for a graduate engineer? They should conduct investigation of a complex problem. They should able to design the experiment, not only solve the experiment. They should able to design the experiment. They should do analysis and interpretation of the collected data, synthesis of information to provide valid conclusion. Not only draw the graph, but why this graph is like this, if the graph is changed like this, what happened? So, all kind of interpretation also important. So, analysis of data, collection of data, synthesis of data and design of experiment is important. Not that just rotate the knob, take a reading and plot the graph. This is the requirement of the investigation. Third is modern tools and uses, very important proposition. They said a student who said that I passed civil engineering, if he said I do not know CAD/CAM, then should we consider he is a civil engineer? So, create, select and apply appropriate technique, resource and modern engineering tools including prediction, modeling, complex engineering activity with understanding of its limitation. Somebody said that I have studied VLSI design without knowing any software which is used to simulate VLSI circuits. Somebody said I know DSP, but I do not know MATLAB. Can I expect that he is no DSP? So, modern tools and its use along with the limitation is a necessary things an engineer must know. So, when I say a course, a program, so program must specify that if you are an electronics engineer, you must know these modern tools along with their limitation. I know mathematics, I know physics, I have a grade card which is says that 9 CGPA, 9.5 CGPA, does not matter. unless you do not have those skills. So, up to this is domain dependent parameters. So, that 1 to 5 out PO are domain dependent. That means, if it is a electronics engineer, then it is a electronics. If it is a civil engineer, according to civil engineer, it is a chemical engineer, according to the chemical engineer. So, up to 1 to 5 is domain specific program outcome or measurement dimension defined by Washington Accords, and the same definition is exist for NBA. Okay? After 5, from 6, if you see, color is changed. Individual and teamwork. A engineer must not only know the domain knowledge, but also know the domain independent knowledge, which is called soft skill. Like they have defined the soft skill. What is the soft skill? They said individual and teamwork. So, a student must function effectively as an individual, as a member of a or leader of a team. Second one, communication skill. It never said, many of us we use that, okay, you require a communication skill, so I should offer a course for English for communication. Is it developing communication skill? What communication skill we require for a graduate engineer? It is not that he or she should talk like a British English, or he should talk like American English or Japanese English. We want what kind of communication? Communicate effectively on a complex engineering activities with the engineering community and society at large, such as being able to comprehend, write effective report, design documentation, make effective presentation, and give and receive clear instruction. So, we do not want he should speak like a British English. We want he should write effective report, design documentation, comprehend and write effective report, design documentation, make effective presentation, give and receive clear instruction, and communicate effectively with his fellow worker, with the society, or with the manager or other people, or customer or other people. So, I have to build effective communication power. It is not that I have to taught him how to speak like a British English, how to write a letter like a Shakespeare's. It is not required. So, individual and teamwork, communication skill. Last one is, third one is the engineer and society. Demonstrate understanding of social, health, safety, legal and cultural issue and consequent responsibility relevant to engineering practices. Not that you should know what is your fundamental rights, all you have to remember, not that. I have to only require engineering and society, the issues related to engineering society, which is affect my work. So, suppose a chemical engineer or want to establish a chemical factory, he should know what kind of understanding of social, health, safety and legal and cultural issue required if I want to produce a factory in here. He does not require to know, okay, like a you can say lawyer to defend a criminal case, like that, not that. So, he only know the understand of social, health, safety, legal and cultural issue and consequent responsibility relevant to engineering practices. Okay. Next one, ninth, ethics. Understand and commit to professional ethics and responsibility and norms on engineering practices. Somebody say, okay, then we start a course on ethics. Is ethics, the course ethics is sufficient for this class? We want to develop a skill, commit to professional ethics. It is a habit. It is not theory knowledge. Commit to professional ethics and responsibility and norms of engineering practices. It is a skill. So, ethics which will be practices. So, I do not require the theory that what is ethics, how to follow ethics, what kind, everything is taught and what practice skill is not developed on the students, does not satisfy our requirement. Third one, environment and sustainability. Understand the impact of engineering solution in a social context and demonstrates knowledge of and need of suitable development. 11th, project management and finance. Demonstrate the knowledge of understanding the management of business practices, risks, change management and their limitation. And last one is lifelong learning, very important things. Recognize the need for having ability to engage in independent and lifelong learning. After graduation of 4 years, if he does not develop his own learning responsibility skill, how to self-learning skill, if it is not developed, then he cannot sustain. So, I have to develop a skill which is called self-learning among the students. If I just spoon feed the students, and is the self-learning will develop? Not at all. So, if I want to develop the self-learning, I have to do something else. So, if you see 1 to 5 are domain dependent skill, 6 to 12 are domain independent skill. Now, if you think that for every skill I should require a subject, then it is not a BTech program. Can I say that I will develop the communication skill among the students by just introducing a course on English for communication? Can I say I will develop the engineering ethics on the students by a course on ethics? No, not at all. So, if I want to develop this domain independent skill, I require a teaching learning process. While I am teaching domain dependent skill, can I develop this domain independent skill? So, 21st century required a teaching learning process which not only catered to domain dependent skill, but also domain independent skill. So, I required or this required a teaching learning process which can take care the development of domain independent skill while I am developing domain dependent skill. Maybe some courses are required like the project management and finance. We may say, okay, one course can be taught, but not only that course will develop the skill. Every course which is domain dependent course, that has to be scattered to domain independent learning. For example, suppose I am talking a course about that AC machine, engineering course, AC machine or VLSI design. While I taking the course on VLSI design to develop certain skill outcome which is domain dependent outcome, can I scatter to some domain independent skill also? Suppose I said while I teaching VLSI design, I follow a teaching learning process by which I can develop communication skill, lifelong learning, ethics, environment sustainability. So, all those domain independent skill also I will contribute. So, teaching learning process, come to the class and deliver a lectures Just prepare some slides and come in the class and present the slides and talk to the students is not sufficient or not enough in today's world. So, I said that yes, I am teaching domain dependent skill, but my teaching learning process is such that is catered to domain independent skill. How do I do that? So, this is the one requirement. Second requirement is that, okay, this is the requirement, one requirement, and what is the first requirement? How to write this outcome? I said PO, program specific PO, program outcome. So, how do I, this Washington Accord says that a student should able to design solution for a complex engineering problem, if you see that. If I want to develop, I want to write down for an electronics engineer what kind of design solution I should write down. So, how do I write down the outcome? That is an important issue. So, in 21st century, if I say my program is NBA or Washington Accords accredited, that what is required? That I should develop, or I should, the student before they admitting the course, they know what kind of outcomes are there. So, before they are entering the course, they know the outcome. So, what is required? That every program of every institute must written down that at the end of the program, what kind of skill a student must acquire, at least written down. So, before I admitting a civil engineering program of institute A, I know at the end of the 4 year, those are the skill which will develop on me. So, a student know his milestone. So, a student know what I have to achieve. How I achieve it is the teaching learning process. So, details I will describe how this kind of things will help to engage the student, engagement, lifelong learning, all kinds of things. So, today I want to change that system. Today's society, even in India, if you see that how a student choose a study program. Last year this rank, this institute, this branch. So, this year this rank, this institute, this branch. But he may not be interested. I do not know. If I admitted in a one institute A with let us BTech electronics engineering, I do not know except that I will get a job and get a certificate on BTech electronics engineering, what kind of skill I will develop. Explicitly it is not written down anywhere. So, NBA document by which we are a body is accredited the program must be available to the students. It is not required by the MHRD, it is required by the student. So, once I write down the NBA accreditation document and it is available to the student know if I admitted this program, what kind of skill I have to develop. So, accreditation of a program, it does not required by a body, it is required by a student. So, accreditation body only validate whether your claim outcome is legitimate or not. Somebody said, I am following the MIT curricula. Are that institute becomes MIT? No, not at all. So, a body, accreditation body, their responsibility is that whatever you have write down that outcome, whether that outcome are legitimate or not. The practice which you are follow, whether they are guaranteed that outcome or not. So, I am saying that a test like a television, a ISO certified body, this television meets the standard. They only certify that this television is meet this specification, this specification, this specification, this specification. So, accreditation body only certify your parameters which you set are achievable, measurable and specific, and the teaching learning process and resources which you have are legitimate to achieve this goal. That is the job of accreditation body. Now, you can say, okay, I have done so many things, but students are not acquiring the skill. Yes, that is possible. So, the problem is that the teaching learning process which I will follow, I will give you the details description after this class, next class. So, that may not be support this kind of outcome. So, many kinds of study we have to make, and we have to say how I can develop the skill which I have specified in my accreditation document on the students. So, basic idea of accreditation. Accreditation does not guarantee that quality of program. Accreditation only guaranteed that it maintains the minimum quality which is required by NBA or which is required by Washington Records, or accreditation is required by the students. A student must know before he admitted a program what kind of skill he is supposed to develop. So, if you think about it, a 10 plus 2 students, he has certain skill. So, what is the purpose for this education? The purpose is to enhance those skill or acquire a new skill. So, that is required. Either I have to enhance the skill or I have to acquire the new skill. As a student, I have responsibility. So, once I go, I see this program A document, I see, okay, those are the skill I will acquire newly, those are the skill I will enhance. So, that is required by a student, and that is through accreditation of a program. So, accreditation does not improve the quality, but it is guaranteed the minimum quality. Okay? So, this is accreditation. So, 12 parameter which is written by Washington Records is ditto followed by NBA, same as NBA. So, up to 5 is domain dependent and 6 to 12 is domain independent. So, challenge for us is that how we can say, how we implement NBA or accreditation in classroom. That is the biggest challenge. Writing document is not the problem, but how do we ensure this is implemented in the classroom? How should I write my accreditation document? How do you write outcome? So, once I want to know how to write the outcome, it is not that yes, I can write the outcome, student will appreciate my course, it is not course outcome. So, writing an outcome is in science. So, there is a theory. So, the program, that this course which we propose, it will give you the underlying principle how to write the outcome. So, that is the main objective of this course, that everybody must able to write correct outcome which is specific, measurable and achievable, at the end of the course. Okay? So, all those things you will learn consequent lectures, but NBA or accreditation, how, why it is, how it is, and what for it is, and what are the challenges, because the implementation of NBA in classroom is the biggest challenge. And how how do you develop the domain independent skill while I am teaching domain dependent subject is the biggest challenge to the teachers teaching learning process. Then if you see, this course will taught that all kinds of NBA requirement, that how do you say that my program is fulfill that NBA requirement. So, program metrics, course metrics, all kinds of things will be there, and I will show you how it is done and how it can be implemented in scientifically. Okay? Thank you.